of really very productive in the wintertime. And I think we took advantage of it as coaches of installing and putting a lot of things in. We went back to day one install today. And I thought it was a really good first day. Guys flying around. I thought, both sides of the ball made some plays today. Defensive back made some really good plays, had some interceptions, had some knockdowns. And then I thought our wideouts made some plays as well on the edge. I mean, threw a lot of vertical balls today. One thing about practice like today, when you're just in helmets, it's hard for the O-line, D-line. And I thought he did a really good job. Nobody was on the ground. I mean, they practiced like they're supposed to practice. There's good energy out here today. And we got a lot of new guys. I mean, you think about, I feel like it's like this every year now. At this time of year when you have, we had 12 new high school players and 15 transfers and a couple of guys that have switched positions. Like Logan Wilson is playing corner now. Kyle Stokes is playing corner. So we got some guys that are moved around a little bit. So some new things that have happened today, but overall it was a really good day.
Was that by design, over the top as much as you went, or?
Yeah, we got some new wideouts. We got to see them guys stretch the field a little bit and see if try to hit some of those balls over the top. And also when you're day one install, we don't have as much in. You can put vertical routes in day one, so I think that's part of it as well. But also to see the DBs and see how those guys are making plays also. So it's both sides of the ball.
Jeff Caldwell is the guy that kind of stood out today out wide, like you mentioned. What's been your overall impression of him throughout this whole
season? Number one, when he got here, he was around 191 pounds. He's around 210 now. He put on a lot of muscle. He really trained hard in the last 8 weeks, but we got to see him run around. His times are really good. He can really jump, and so now it's just about playing some football and learning what he's doing. But I thought for the first day coming out, and there was times where he made some great plays, and other times where obviously we got to get it coached up. But he certainly has a lot of potential. You're talking about a guy who's close to 6'5", long arms, can jump, can run. He certainly needs to be that weapon on the outside edge for us.
Gio is a true freshman, but when you look out there, he doesn't look like a true freshman.
No, he doesn't.
What are your impressions of him? I know it's early, but
yeah, he's been very impressive. Even from the time we recruited him, he's a very serious-minded person. Coming here, his mind is on getting better and learning everything, and he's just that way every single day. He's put on a lot of weight too. He's up to about 205. He's strong. I mean, just today, just blocking out on the edge, you just see the strength that he had right there, but he also has really good hands, and he catches the ball in traffic. So I'm very impressed by Gio. I think just number one, though, is just his attitude and the way he approaches everything is very serious, like I mentioned, but he's got some skill. We're glad he's here. He's had a really good first day today, and he's the kind of player that'll keep getting better and better just because of his work ethic.
Special teams, there was a lot of coaches involved in that today, day one. Is that basically how you anticipated it looking throughout the spring?
I do. I mean, Tim Connors right now is overseeing the special teams, but we are going to utilize our whole staff, and I think we have to take advantage of, nowadays with the rules you're going to have a lot of coaches out here, and we do. We have a lot of coaches that, each position coach, we have 2 coaches for that position, so we're going to utilize these guys in the special teams. I want more eyes on it individually, really dissecting it each and every day. So we'll take this film and go watch it as a special team staff, which includes a lot of our coaches, minus the coordinators and the O-line coach, and other than that, everybody's going to be coaching. And so I think just more eyes on everything that we're doing and attention to detail. But I really liked, we had about 8 or 9 punt returners back here today, and that looked pretty good. We had some guys that can catch the ball and do some things with it. I thought Max punted the ball really good today, and I thought we kicked the ball good as well. So, we do have some new guys that are going to be in the teams, but I think these guys are going to be solid players for us.
Is that a new level of emphasis that you've got on special teams coaching-wise?
It is. Yeah, I mean, you got to take advantage, again, using all the coaches that we have for that. Instead of one guy being in charge, let's let all the guys have some ownership in these teams. And myself is really putting a lot more onus throughout the spring and the summer as we head to the fall camp. I mean, that's got to be a strength for us and not a weakness. And I think, as we all know, it can cost you games. And and for us, last couple of years, really losing the field position battle in some of these games. I mean, the margins are so close, and so we got to do everything we can, obviously, to correct that.
A lot of new faces on the 1s and 2s on the offensive line. How important is this spring for not only the guys, but for the coaching staff to kind of figure out what you've got?
Yeah, I think we got some good young players, and so this is going to be huge for them, these 15 practices. I mean, you feel like we got about 4 guys that we know what they can do. All right, now we got about 7 guys. We got to see what they can do. And I think these reps that we're going to be getting over the next 14 practices will be very valuable. We also got to find out who's going to be our left tackle, who's going to play there. We got about 4 guys that are battling out for that spot. but also the depth. We do like to play 7 or 8 guys in the fall, so we got to find 3 or 4 more guys that we feel good about and comfortable with, and that'll just be over these next practices and see who kind of rises up to the top.
A few guys wearing orange jerseys today to start spring ball. Any major injury updates or just onboarding them a little bit better?
No, I think some of the guys had surgery in the off season. Some of the guys will be slow to return. I think at this point we feel pretty good about where we are with everything, and those guys will slowly start to get in there. There's a couple of guys that I feel like once we get back from spring break, they're going to be in there playing. Probably 3 or 4 of those guys that didn't go today. Just really a little bit more precautious, I think, in these first 2 or 3 practices.
Speaking of guys coming back from injury, Sincere Lewis out there today.
He is.
A bunch.
Yeah.
I know that's a guy that when you got here, you had big hopes for. How great is it to have him back
Yeah,
out
I mean,
there?
I feel like he just hadn't practiced for 2 years. He's been hurt, unfortunately. He's got some really good ability. He's a guy who goes hard everything that he does. It's great to see him back out here today in the line, playing linebacker, playing special teams, and we've got some good depth at linebacker, but we need a couple more players to step up. He's one of the guys we're really looking at. We hope he can step up and be that that extra guy that can get in there and get us some great minutes at linebacker and special teams.
When you look at where the team's at right now to start spring practice, and you look at where you want to be when you come out of spring practice, like what do you hope as a team to accomplish during this time period?
Well, I think for us, it's really the chemistry on each side of the ball and special teams. I think with so many new players, and we're going to be counting on a lot of these guys, but how are they going to gel? How are they going to mesh with everybody else? The communication part of it. And then putting the guys in the right positions. I mean, I just think about secondary. There's several positions back there. We got to get the right guys on the field. And the same thing on offense. You look at the wide receivers. Right, where are the best spots for those wideouts? And it's offensive line as well. So we're just really going to sort out all these positions and get the chemistry right. But I do think we got a lot of good players here. We got a lot of good talent. We got the right kind of guys with the right proper attitudes, and but those are the things we'll be looking forward to get through these practices.
Got some old faces at new positions. Talked about Kai Stokes and Logan Wilson being at corner. Kind of what went into them switching to the outside?
Well, I think Logan, he's played corner in the past, and he feels really comfortable out there. I think last year we just played him at the safety position. Thought we needed him there mainly. But Logan's had a great winter, leadership-wise. He's got the dog mentality is what you want, and he brings us a little bit more aggression out there at corner. And he's very athletic, and he can run. So I think it's a good spot for him. And Kai's a guy who's kind of been on special teams, but we're just trying to find a spot for him on defense where we feel like maybe he can be the best. And so we'll sort that out. We'll see how these, really probably the first couple of weeks go and see if that's where we need to stay there. But we're just trying to find a spot for him to play.
McDoom was in at that number 1 boundary corner spot. What are the vision for him in terms of being kind of that number 1 guy?
Yeah, he's played a lot of football, in the past, and also in the return game. So looking to try to find a spot for him as far as the corner goes, to be a guy that can, we can potentially play man with, but also zone. And we'll just see how the spring goes. I mean, we got to find out what some of these guys can do. A lot of these guys, we've seen it on film, but actually on the field and what's their strengths, weaknesses, and but he's certainly a guy that's got a lot of talent, and he can run. He's very quick. And he's got a lot of experience, so that's going to help him.
How much does it help him going against a guy like Caldwell every day?
Yeah,
he's given up 6, 7 inches.
Oh, no
too.
question. Well, and in this league, that's going to happen, And so I think it'll be great practice. It'll be, iron sharpens iron, so to speak, right there. And so that's going to be a good contest to watch all the practice. I'll tell you this, McDoom won't back down. I know that. He's just got that proper attitude you want at corner.
Talk about this age of college football and how the inevitability of it is that you're going to have a lot of new faces year in year. Does that change the way you approach the spring period at all, or does it feel like it always does?
No, I think it's certainly different. I think you have to feel like there's a connection on your football team. You have to have great chemistry. Football is a sport that is not any one player. I mean, you have to play as a team, and how connected can you be? So that's been intentional for us this off season. About being connected, and now it's about the communication on the field between position groups. You have to know what the other person besides you is doing in order to do your job, and so I think it is a different approach. At the same time, though, it is it's 11 guys playing football, offense, defense, and special teams. But how well can they communicate and how well can they play for each other?
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Scott.
We retired.